Good evening and welcome to BBC Look North. The headlines from us tonight.
This is the first time I have heard my new voice.
The new technology helping one man speak as he loses his ability to talk. It's one of the first times that the technology has been used to create speech that sounds real.
I just don't want to be a program voice on a computer. That sounds really good. I know it's me.
Also on the programme tonight, support for children at an East Yorkshire school as one of their classmates dies from choking.
The school love these children and they do everything they can, to help them.
Very sad day for the school, for the parents and certainly for that little boy's family.
The Euro MP ordered to pay £250,000 after libelling 3 other politicians. And a tribute to the trawlermen lost at sea. This permanent memorial is unveiled in Hull.
Some rain on the way tonight, but much colder easterlies later in the week. There could even be some snow flurries. Join me for that week ahead forecast.
Good evening. He feared losing his voice forever, but now a father of 2 from East Yorkshire who has motor neurone disease has been given a computerised voice that sounds just like him, complete with a Yorkshire accent. Jason Liversage's new voice has been created using his own words and those of more than 20 voice donors. It means that when Jason can no longer talk to his young daughters, he'll still sound like Daddy. I'll be speaking to him in a moment. But first, Joe Maykill has this report.
Motor neurone disease is causing Jason's muscles to waste and weaken. He's already lost the ability to walk and dress himself. Eventually, he won't be able to speak.
I did actually want to call my sister last night, but I didn't bother because it would have been really hard to understand me.
There are no greater heights to aspire to than the stars.
Like Professor Stephen Hawking, who also has motor neurone disease, Jason can use a computer to speak for him. But he wants the computer to sound like him.
I just don't want to be a program voice on a computer. And also for the kids and this to hear my voice as rather as a computer one.
A Scottish clinic has helped him achieve this. The Anne Rowling Clinic was funded by Harry Potter author J.K. Rowling after her mother had multiple sclerosis. And it has a University of Edinburgh research project creating personal synthetic voices. Uniquely, it mixes short recordings of the patient with those of 20 to 30 voice donors.
Previously, methods have needed to take maybe 8 to 10 hours worth of speech, but what we can do is build voices using as little as about 20 minutes worth of speech. When Jason came to record his voice, it was still very clear. You could hear it was starting to become a little bit more effortful, perhaps a little bit slurred sounding, and that's where we would use more of those donor voices.
Firefighters from Bridlington were among the 21 donors that came up from Yorkshire, and another voice donor was Jason's best friend, Phil.
5 thick slabs of blue cheese and maybe a snack for her brother Bob.
The sentences do seem a bit strange, but they've been specially selected so that we can capture all those speech sounds that we need when we create the synthetic voice.
And when the blended voice was ready, we were with Jason to hear it.
This is the first time I have heard my new voice. That's pretty good.
That's actually not
that is, yeah. That sounds really good. And, I know it's me.
Well, earlier I spoke to Jason and his wife Liz and asked how similar the computer voice is to his own.
I think it's incredibly close. It was a really good match.
How important has the technology been in being able to keep, and in the future, your own identity through a voice, which is similar to yours, if not the same as yours?
I think it's very important, and not just for MND people. A lot of people lose a voice, and I think the ability to keep your voice is very important for everybody. because I think it is your individuality.
And has it made, and will it make the situation better than if you'd had a general, the general synthesised voice?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, it gives me the ability to talk to my children and my wife as me, and I don't have to choose from a selection of voices that I think best fit.
Well, let's use the machine then with a question. What difference do you think this technology will make to you?
It's amazing to now know that my girls Lily and Poppy, my wife Liz, will still be able to talk to me and hear my voice back, especially Lily and Poppy, as they only know my voice now, not as it used to be.
And you control that with your eyes?
Yeah, my eyes, yeah. There's 2 cameras, infrared cameras, looking at my eyes, and it can track wherever I look on the screen.
Liz, how important is this to you and the children?
Well, it's very important, certainly to me. Lily and Poppy are very young, they're only 3 and 5 at the moment, so they don't really understand what's going on. And obviously they're used to Jason's voice as it is now, and it's deteriorated considerably over the last sort of 18 months. But, when we first heard the voice, it was instantly recognisable as Jason, and certainly to me it was instantly recognisable as his voice was a few months ago.
And I assume it's very important to you to lead as normal life as possible now.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously, the diagnosis of motor neuron disease is a devastating diagnosis, and it's made us really think about living every day and making the most of every day and, making memories with the girls. So it's really important that we can carry on and Jason can continue to speak as normally as possible.
Amazing story. I wish you both all the very best. Jason, let me just finally ask you a question you can ask this. Do you think that Hull City will stay in the Premier League?
Yes.
Is the right answer. Thank you very much indeed. I wish you well.
Thank you.
And you'll be able to see more of Jason's remarkable story tonight on Inside Out. That's at 7:30 tonight, 7:30 here on BBC One. More than £13,000 has been raised to help support the family of a 5-year-old boy who died after choking at his school in East Yorkshire. Theodore Sylvester was taken ill on Friday lunchtime at Anlaby Primary School and died a short time later. Today, tributes have been laid at the school as pupils and staff try to come to terms with the tragedy. Philip Norton has this report.
The weather reflected the mood this morning. A sombre atmosphere outside Anlaby Primary School as children began the week's lessons without a friend. 5-year-old pupil Theodore Sylvester died on Friday afternoon. It's believed he choked to death during a lunch break. Today, parents and children have been laying flowers by a tree at the school.
The school love these children and they do everything they can, to help them. And, he's a lovely little boy.
Very sad day. For the school, for the parents, and certainly for that little boy's family.
Devastated, completely shocked. He's such a young little boy and you don't expect it to happen, so we're all very upset and feeling so sorry for the family.
Brian Andrews is the lollipop man outside the school gates and remembers Theodore's first day.
Great little guy, yeah. Yeah, sweet as a nut, lovely, a very happy little chap. Yeah, when I came on and saw the ambulances, I just didn't. Nobody knew what had happened.
How did you feel when you did find out?
Absolutely devastated, upset. I felt for his parents and his schoolmates, and tell by my voice, and very, very upset.
More than 750 people have now taken to a crowdfunding website to show their support for Theodore's family. A target of £1,000 was set to help with funeral costs. Within 24 hours, more than £13,000 had already been raised. East Riding of Yorkshire Council has confirmed that first aid staff were present when the incident happened and that it's providing close support to the school and the boy's family. The head teacher, Gareth May, said the whole school community is deeply saddened by the tragic event. A post-mortem examination is due to take place this week, after which a file will be passed to the coroner's office and a date will be set for an inquest into Theodore's death. Children here are being offered continuing support, with counsellors available both at school and at home, as this community tries to come to terms with what happened at this school. Philip Norton, BBC Look North, Anlaby.
Some other news, the amount of money that people in East Yorkshire and Lincolnshire pay towards the police through their council tax is to increase. The police and crime panels in both the Humberside and Lincolnshire force areas approved a rise of just under 2% today. It'll add around £4 to the average yearly council tax bill. Councillors have rejected plans to process waste in a residential part of Lincoln due to concerns over 24-hour working. Veolia hope to create a waste processing station at its existing site on Longleys Road in the city. Dozens of residents protested there as councillors visited the location this morning. The planning committee voted unanimously to reject the application. The company were disappointed by the vote and say that they will now consider other options.
Oh, I'm so relieved. I'm so grateful that we've had some really strong councillors who've looked really carefully at the papers and really dug deep into this application proposal, because it wasn't a robust process. The consultation was poor with the residents and there were so many flaws in the application, and it could have so easily just slipped through.
An East Yorkshire-based Euro MP has been ordered to pay hundreds of thousands of pounds in damages and costs as a result of making libellous Labour MPs.
Rather MPs, Kevin Batch and Healy, knew about child aid just more than 2015. One rather see another for libel and for slander. And today, in the High Court in London, she was ordered to pay each of them £54. And in addition, she's got arrested to £6,000. The judge ordered her in court to pay £120,000 that within 21 days. Speaking outside of the court today, says for them it was never about money.
This has been our difference we have today, and this should never have needed legal action. Any time, Jane Collins could have said that what she had said in her speech totally untrue, admitted and made us apologise, but she's never done that. We had no to do this legal, get this full vindication today.
Well, the MPs were unable to say today what they intend to do with the money. They did have some doubt as to whether it will materialise. Jane Collins says she does intend to appeal, but it's not quite. She basically is for appeal. 28 days.
This appeal started very working.
They tend not to back living. They see other things in the world. I think it's very good. Yeah.
The names of places so close to home will be seen by thousands. A little piece of Yorkshire on show to visitors from round the globe. Anne-Marie Tasker, BBC Look North, London.
Lovely. David Hockney celebrating his 80th this year. The Beverley tennis player Kyle Edmund's match at the end of Britain's Davis Cup tie with Canada came to a bizarre conclusion. His opponent was involved in an incident with the umpire that led to his disqualification. Our sports reporter Simon Clark is here with the news. What exactly happened then in Ottawa?
Well, Kyle Edmund was on his way, it seemed, to victory over Denis Shapovalov in what was Britain's decisive rubber over the Canadians. Kyle, who disappointed in his first game on Friday, came out playing some great tennis. This seems to have frustrated his teammate. Inadvertently took matters into his own hands, costing him a fine of $7,000. This is the moment the young Canadian will regret forever. He just lost his serve to Edmund in the third set and angrily swung at a loose ball. It hit the French umpire Arnaud Gabard flush in the eye. He defaulted Denis Shapovalov, and so, in an unexpected way, Kyle had led his country into the quarterfinals of this year's competition.
It was a strange way to finish. I'd never been a part of something like that, but I was, looking on the positive side. I was more pleased with how I was going about my processes with the match.
Now, you might not know this, but Kyle's favourite football team is Liverpool, and they provided the opposition for new Hull City boss Marco Silva. After taking a draw at Manchester United, Silva saw his side victorious over the Reds. Debutant Alfred Ndeye scored the opener, and as Liverpool failed to break the Tigers down, Oumar Niasse put the game beyond doubt. City within sight of leaving the relegation zone as a result.
I'm sure in the future we will play better and we need to show other type of football, but in these moments we need to suffer as a team, but to always to keep our focus, always to keep our organization, because only we played this game is possible to change our situation.
Scunthorpe United lost at Southend United despite an opening goal by Murray Wallace. The 3-1 defeat was not as costly as it might have been because third place Bolton Wanderers were held to a draw. James McEwen was the hero for Grimsby Town after his late penalty save against Luton helped the Mariners to a 1-1 draw. Hull Kingston Rovers kicked off their championship campaign by scoring more than 50 points against a reborn Bradford Bulls. More than 8,000 were at the game, many remembering the club's president and former chairman Colin Hutton, who died last week, aged 90.
For the occasion for Colin was very well done, I thought. The pre-game tribute. So our job now as a group, as players and coaches, is to move forward and try and keep the momentum going now.
Yes, enjoyed it. It's a good match. Looking forward to the season.
I think it's just them settling down now and then let my bug go. I think they'll be all right. I know this much, they're fast.
Next up for the Robins, a trip to London Broncos. So Rovers up and running in the Championship. Next weekend sees the return of the sport's leading competition, Super League. Hull FC will be hoping to improve upon last season's third-place finish. And there's a look at Hull FC and their rivals' prospects in a Super League preview, which is available now on the BBC iPlayer.
Simon, thank you very much indeed. A top comedian has sold out at a Lincoln venue within hours. Tickets went on sale this morning for a preview show by Michael McIntyre. The website for the new Theatre Royal crashed under the strain. Good luck to you if you got the tickets. Well done. That tour called Work in Progress, and Michael McIntyre. And work has started on improvements to the Paragon interchange in Hull. £1.4 million is being spent on the renovations, which include a new waiting room and toilets, along with 4 shops. TransPennine Express say that they're working with the council and the City of Culture organisers to minimise disruption. When they came home to Hull, they were called the 3-day millionaires, but trawlermen risked their lives by working at sea. It's thought that 6,000 men left the city on fishing boats but never returned. For decades, there have been calls for a permanent memorial to be placed at the fish docks. Today, the first pieces were lifted into place at St Andrew's Quay. Jill Archbold has more.
14 faces cut into steel, standing by the Humber to honour the 6,000 men who went out to sea and never came back. Created by an artist who spent his teenage years sketching trawlers.
There are 13 main trawlermen. I don't think you're particularly conscious of the 13, but obviously it is deliberately chosen as a superstitiously unlucky number.
Peter Naylor's work will soon be seen by the families of fishermen.
I'm still very nervous about it. Sunday is the unveiling, and it's how those people that come to the Lost Trawlermen Memorial Service, it's how they react to it and how they feel about it. They are really the finally important judges.
The silhouettes were lifted into place this morning, made from weathering steel. With time, they will have a rust-like appearance. Watching closely, photographer Nigel Walker, who's documented every step.
Seeing the designs, cut the steel arriving and going through the laser machine, and now seeing them being secured into the base before next weekend's memorial service is really quite an achievement for everyone involved.
And Fishing Heritage Group's stand has been fundraising for a memorial for more than a decade.
It's wonderful to see it. Lots of people I sail with that actually never returned. So when you look at it, you can think to yourself, you know, that's what it represents. It represents the men that never came home.
A service honouring lost trawlermen will be held on Sunday in the shadow of these sculptures, giving families another place by the Humber to reflect and remember. Jill Archbold, BBC Look North in Hull.
Memorial to the lost fishermen. As Jill said, it will be unveiled. There will be a service at the weekend led by the Archbishop of York. Now, it is 5 minutes to 7 this Monday night. Let's have a reminder of the main national and regional headlines. Claims that nurses and doctors are facing unprecedented pressure across the NHS. New technology is helping one man speak as he loses his ability to talk. Tomorrow's weather, a damp and misty start with patchy drizzle and some fog. Top temperatures at best around 7 Celsius, 7 is 45 Fahrenheit. And don't forget Inside Out on the story that we heard about Jason there and motor neurone disease at 7:30 here on BBC One. Just briefly, we were talking last week about taking children out of school for holidays. Phil in Grimsby says, never mind having a go on parents taking their children out of school, just to get holiday prices down. That is that. Jeff says, I think parents should be able to take children out of school for a few days and only get a fine for an excessive number of days. And just finally, John says, councils are always over the top. I always took my children out of school a week or 2 weeks early so that my 2 children could go abroad. It has not bothered them. One has a joint honours degree, the other has his own business. Thank you for all of those over the weekend. And for watching, have a nice evening. Join me tonight at 10:30 if you can for the second Look North. If not, I'll see you tomorrow. Take care. Bye for now.